So welcome everyone. I'm David Hempton, Dean of the Harvard Divinity School. It's a pleasure to welcome so many people here on a Friday afternoon. It's wonderful. And a special pleasure for me to welcome Professor N.T. Wright to our campus. When I was appointed to a chair at Harvard in 2006, the first duty I had was to introduce then Bishop N.T. Wright, then Bishop of Durham, who gave the Noble Lectures here at Harvard in October 2006, which were also a wonderful occasion. Professor Wright also has a dubious distinction, I think, of being one of the first occupants of the chair that I hold at Harvard. He was a visiting professor here in the MacDonald Chair, 1999, I think. So Nicholas Thomas Wright is currently Research Professor of New Testament at St. Mary's College, University of St. Andrews, where I did my doctorate many years ago. He's a graduate of Exeter and Merton Colleges, Oxford, and in the past has held positions as Professor of New Testament at McGill University in Canada and as Fellow and Tutor at Worcester College, Oxford. He is also the retired Anglican Bishop of Durham, a seat in which he has been from 2003 to 2010. Before that, he had been Dean of Lichfield Cathedral and Canon Theologian of Westminster Abbey. In these positions, he has been a significant public voice in both the Church of England and the Anglican Communion around the ecclesiological developments of that body over the past decade. His academic work on the New Testament is extensive and focused mostly on the quest for the historical Jesus and the interpretation of Paul. He has been an advocate of the placement of Jesus and Paul within the context of Second Temple Judaism. As a consequence, Professor Wright is numbered among the most prominent proponents of the so-called new perspective on Paul. Some of his most significant scholarly titles are Jesus and the Victory of God, published in 1996, The Resurrection of the Son of God, 2003, Surprised by Hope, Rethinking Heaven, The Resurrection and the Mission of the Church, in 2008, Justification, God's Plan and Paul's Vision, and How God Became King, The Forgotten Story of the Gospels, and now Paul and the Faithfulness of God. Besides his more academic production, Professor Wright, as many of you know, has been very effective in popularizing the results of his scholarly engagement for a much wider readership. For instance, through the publication of widely read dialogues with notable liberal scholars such as John Dominic Crossan and Marcus Borg, and his best-selling books such as Simply Christian and Simply Jesus. He has also recently completed the publication of a popular commentary on the entire New Testament in the For Everyone series. So it's my pleasure to welcome Professor Wright to speak to us about Paul and the faithfulness of God. And following this talk, there will be three responses from Professors Giovanni Bassana and Matthew Potts, both from the Harvard Divinity School, and Professor Catherine Shaner, now at Wake Forest University, but an alum of our school. So thanks for coming up for this. It's great to have you. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome Professor N.T. Wright to present this topic for us.